Way with the Maze on Instagram. And now we have Way with the Maze on Facebook. We got a lot of people on Facebook as well. And so we're super hyped to be back with you this week. It's going to be a really interesting topic, right?
Ah man,
What are you talking about?
I ain't say nothing yet. So, but why? Why we tell everybody to follow us, right? But why? Yes, you may know Michelle. Yes, you may know me, and I appreciate that. If that's the reason why, just on the strength of you knowing me, that's what's up. But we also believe that what we are speaking about can help single individuals looking to be in a relationship, married couples who go through the same thing that we go through. And that's why we ask you to follow, because if you follow, that is our platform to get your input and topics for the next show, questions that you may be struggling with, to see how we deal with it. And another point would be the way with the Maze. I cannot say this enough, that we believe with our hearts, our minds, our complete being, that Jesus is the way, and it is because of his vision that we are together.
Yeah, the scripture says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. And so we realize no man, right? We cannot do anything if we are not on the right path, and the path that he set us on. So we that's the purpose of the show, is to kind of share the way that we made it.
And we will not be silent. We're gonna keep on singing.
Oh yeah, let's hype that up. So just so you all know, the sponsor? Praise and worship team at our church,
Fresh Start
Christian Center.
The name is Refresh Worship.
Released another single under the artist name Refresh Worship with Pastor Naomi Rain featuring. So if you have not downloaded this song, it is available on many platforms. We're wearing our Cry Out shirts today in honor, and just because we want to.
There you go.
Cry out, y'all. Cry out. And we will not be silent. I think that it's important for us to not be silent and really share. And for the first time, we're going to be very uncomfortable and being open about all the things that we are experiencing and going through. And I think it's really dope that this platform was made possible because my dad has a show, the Blueprint, that comes on every Sunday around 7 p.m. And so we're just grateful to have the EP, my mother in the background. And so, yeah, we did all of our shout outs. So now, Cry Out.
Oh, the link?
Yeah, the link is below. The link is below. You see it down here. I like when people say that, and it's actually there. So the topic for today.
What's the actual topic?
We really struggle with the topic, but it really is the single us. Like
the single us.
Before we were married.
Before we got here.
Who were we?
Who were we?
And then what will we tell our single selves?
Yes.
And I think it's important for those of you who are on this watching, for you to understand, like, we all can probably look back at our younger selves and tell our younger selves something. This is like, what will we tell our single selves? What will we tell our single selves? So let's talk about that. Like, who are you, single Zakari?
Nobody that you wanted to meet.
Talk about that.
Or somebody that she would have liked to meet, but I would have probably I don't know. I would have set her up. Yeah, I'm pretty I'm pretty single back then. You see the single lean? That's the single lean right there. When you put your two hands in front of you, right there.
That's the single lean.
That's the single, like, hey, what's up, shorty? What's going on?
Y'all have to be on YouTube to understand what he's saying. So if you on our Instagram, I'm sorry, you gotta join us on the YouTube.
The single me.
Yeah.
First, the single me, I was my mentality, my understanding of dating was I could date anybody I wanted to date because it's just dating. Um,
Y'all.
and the mature self would tell that person or let younger DK know that it's more than that. You have the power of life is in the tongue, but the way you move with certain people um, can affect them in the long run.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop there and then let you introduce your young self.
By young self, I still look young now, y'all. But anyways, single Michelle. I was trying to do everything that I thought like pleased others. I think I was definitely a people pleaser,
That's a good
single
point.
self. I wanted to be very heavily liked. And I wanted to kind of like be popular and do the things that everybody else was doing. And so my single self was very torn because I was really trying to figure out like my identity of like who I really was. But I found myself only doing the things that other people liked until I got to a different kind of single. So let me talk about this
level of singles.
This levels to singleness, y'all.
She came up with
levels
this.
To singleness.
She came up
so,
with this.
Like, there is like the single me, like before I even thought about getting married, right? And then there's like the single me who was like, nope, I don't want to be married. Like, I'm out here enjoying my best life. And then,
which one comes before the other one?
It depends on where you are. Like, it depends on where you are. Right. And then there was the single me who was like, man, I really want to be married. And so each of those levels looked different.
Okay, so it was the single, wild and crazy, doing whatever I want, doing whatever I thought was what I was supposed to do, acting the way like birds of a feather flock together. So if the boys was doing something, I was doing something, and I played a role in that singlehood. And then I became It's funny that I feel like the Lord was always speaking to me because at certain points of time, I would get tired of being single, tired of calling this one, feeling obligated to reach out to that one, going on a date with this one. Again, now remember that was my dating, and I felt like as long as I said, "Yo, we dating," and that was all. That's all. That was the confirmation that we ain't doing nothing. Like I don't want no boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not doing that.
You just wanted
the fun,
friend with benefits.
The fun.
Say the friend with benefits.
And then there was the single me that didn't care. I got caught up in situations, and I was like, "Well, I'm old enough to deal with it, and I don't care." Thank the Lord, He saved me from that one too. And then it was the single me that knew I had an interest, and this interest, I knew what she wanted, and I knew she wanted marriage at the time. I knew she wanted a husband or a man that she could rely on, so to speak, not to be depending on, but just to trust in. And I moved totally different. Actually, when I first dated you, I was in between those two.
I can see that.
I did everything different with you.
I can see that. Yeah, you actually, let me speak to that. Like when we were dating the first time, like you were like courting me.
I was
like you were actually courting me, and you were like, oh, there's only like, I want to show you what I can offer you without actually crossing the lines. And so we made sure like sex was not a part of that beginning portion of our relationship, because it was like we want to do things differently.
I know I did, definitely.
But I do think that we wrestle and tussle against what society says, because the homies be like, you ain't hit that yet. Like the homies be like, oh, why you still with this person if they not giving it up? Like that's, sometimes
that's
the conversation. Oh, not my people's. But I just think like that is what we think is happening. Even as a woman, sometimes we think that's what's happening. So we feel like we have to give in, because if we don't, then that person's not gonna stay with me because I didn't have sex with them.
Or you not trying to sleep. Oh, you must be gay. Like what's
Ooh.
And believe it or not, I had that in high school because I had a whole bunch of female friends.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few that probably mentioned it or said it, and if they said it to the right person, they'd be like, "Who?
Yeah.
DK? You don't even know the half." And this is because I like to have fun, right? I got a reflection, which kind of opened my eyes to certain things. I was the one. You go to the parties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking off my sweater. I'm in the middle of the dance floor. I'm
You
at
definitely-
the bar. I'm dancing. I'm doing all kinds of dances that now you will look at a man doing and say, he must be gay. And I was like, oh, that's probably. But I was just getting my freak on the dance floor. I was getting my Genuine on, my Magic Mike.
Oh Lord, you definitely thought you were Magic Mike at one point in your life. But I think that that's like really the idea, is like our identity became based off of what people say, or trying to live out like this single life. Like I know what was hard was my mother was like, oh, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna give me some grandkids?
At what age? Like, when was that? You wasn't even dating.
I was still single. It doesn't matter, right? Like, and we're talking about single life, right? And so the reality is, like, then you're like, you feel the pressure of wanting to be married, right? And you feel the pressure of, like, then the pressure I feel about wanting to be married gets put on the person that I'm in a relationship with. And the reality is, like,
I feel that females do that.
It's based off of like what people say. And so being okay with being single is something that I would love to like I wish I was just okay being single and not trying to like force myself into a relationship just because I was hoping to be somewhere. And we talked about this expectations. Mm-hmm. It's because my expectations were very similar to, like, my mother was married at 19, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so here I am, 23, 25, 26, that's where 27, 28, and I'm like, oh Lord, like.
But you know what's, that's good.
That's the thing.
That's what's funny. So I made up my own expectations. Like, I was supposed to graduate high school, do 4 years in college, my last year in college, be engaged, graduate at 21, have my wife, have my kids at 22 or 23.
Interesting.
Like, I had made that up in my own head. Right, so college didn't work out, so that was thrown out the door. And then my parents, I didn't see. I'm like, they was together, right? And I started realizing that if I didn't see a marriage, then you guys was just together, and you weren't you weren't married. So I didn't have no understanding of marriage and bond and submission. Mm-hmm. Like you did growing up, but I did see love. For what it's worth, I did see love. Dad and mom, I saw pain, I saw heartache. I came. My dad had me at 33. My mother was 22.
Interesting.
It's a big age difference. My dad used to go out a lot. In a young age, I didn't know where he went, but when he came home, I would be in the bed in his place playing the role of dad, so I was in the bed 14, 15 with mom just because dad's not here. It was a sense of me, my protection or growing up like that. He would come tap me when I got too heavy to carry me and put me in my own bed. And that was it. But marriage and relationships, I did not receive any influence or help.
That's crazy.
About how to treat a woman. It was only my boys and some of their uncles.
The streets taught you.
The streets taught me.
So like music is definitely a thing that also could kind of like too. Infiltrate your opinion about how you should be as a man or a woman. But now that we have an opportunity to share like with the audience, we're married now. We're married.
Yes, we are.
So like, what would you tell like your single self? We look
see that picture right there?
Good. Y'all, if y'all not on YouTube, this picture, you're missing it.
I'm about to change to that my screensaver.
I have to say, there's so many things that we learned through this union,
And
that
still learning.
like every day is a learning experience. That if I were to go back, if I could just go back and talk to myself, I probably would give myself some key points. So what would you tell?
First of all, do you think you would be married to me if you go back and tell your young self the nuggets?
Man, that's
if I
good
knew
question.
what I knew now, I won't. I'll probably. I don't think maybe I would have met you, but who know? I don't know.
We don't know.
God has a plan.
God
so
knows.
if this is God's plan right here, then that answer is yes.
Yeah. Then
the answer is yes. No matter what.
Yeah.
This would have happened one way or the other.
I think I would say.
Sure. What up, man? Oh, you don't watch her face. Just everybody focus on her face. One second. So if I would go back, I would have more discipline. I would be with my cousin Spoon, and I would be playing varsity at Mount Vernon. I would have been to Ben Gordon before Ben Gordon, and then I would have met her. And her mother's laughing right now. If you know me out there, and we grew up on 77, and we used to ball from sun up to sundown and go to other neighborhoods and rec shops, please put a comment in. Let my wife believe that I used to play ball and I was nice.
No, y'all. This basketball talk has been the funniest conversations we've had. Honestly, he's not a baller. He's not an athlete. Let's just stick to dancing. All right. And trying to sing in unison.
That hurts my soul.
So, younger self. Well, we have 10 minutes left.
Really? Wow.
10 minutes, like time goes by very quickly.
13.
Okay. What would you tell your younger self besides being disciplined? Because you mentioned that already.
Okay. Wow. I would let my younger self know my wealth, and I would try to tell him that spreading me around doesn't increase my value. It actually decreases the value. And I would teach him to make decisions that's best, not just what's right, but what's right, not just what's best for all parties involved. Like, take the responsibility. It became a time of maturity when I could be attracted by a young lady and her body, and I would act on it. And then there became a time when I could see the same person or whatever and know that that's not going to do anything for me. It's not going to benefit me in any way to deplete what I have to give. Because what happens in that is the women just start seeing you as something that they can get from you, something that you're good at, something, if it's money. People with money, it ain't tricking if I got it. So they go out and they
spending it.
But imagine if they kept all that money that they were spending on and maybe invested or something like that. I would definitely tell my younger self to invest too.
Man, okay, you did a good job. That was only 1 minute. What would I tell my younger self? I would say that you don't have to be somebody else. Like, just be you. Like, don't let anybody else tell you to look a certain way, behave a certain way. Like, our parents they did. I'm talking to everybody. Your parents did a great job raising you and helping you define your identity. But just, I would say, spend time really just getting to know you and building your relationship with you and Christ. I think if I was not so focused on what people thought about me, I would have been further along in life. If I Um,
Yeah.
if I really just stuck to I would say the Holy Spirit was speaking inside of me, right? A lot of people say that's that intuition. I stuck with my gut. That was like, that's a red flag. We talk about red flags a lot today. If I just stuck with my gut, I probably would have experienced less heartache. I probably would have experienced less feeling like I shouldn't have done some of the things that I did do, or found myself in relationships, even friendships that were unhealthy for me. And so I think I would definitely say continue to read your word and stand on that. Like, it's okay that you might feel alone. You're not alone with Christ. And it's super important. And something that I did do as a single woman, but I learned a little late, was I dated myself. I would say date yourself and get to know who you are, like what you like, so that you don't find yourself liking things because someone else likes them. I will also say study that word. There's a scripture. It's, if you haven't read Proverbs 31, for all single women who want to be married, you have to read
Wow.
Proverbs 31. Like, you need to understand it. The scripture says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing, right? But you have to be a wife before he can find you. And that means you have to portray like wife like qualities, right? So you can't just be out there doing what you feel is right, or giving your body to anyone and everybody, right? Like, you have to have what, like, you need to learn how to cook, ma'am, so that you can cook food for your family. So go cook. um there are so many things, and if you read Proverbs 31, it even talks about like how to be a good wife, and so that will help you. I mean, I wish that I had read it in depth as a single woman. I didn't do it until like I started to desire it a little bit more. But that's something that I would encourage you to do if you haven't done it.
So how I speak 1 minute and you went on for like 4 minutes?
Because I had a list.
What's up with that?
I had a list.
You had a list to tell. I got a list too to tell my younger self, but I summed it up.
No, we got time. Tell us some more then.
Wow, tell you some more.
What do you tell your younger self?
Events. I don't know. I had a good time. But you know what? You talk about the word and Christ, and I didn't know him growing up, so I couldn't stay to the word. Um, I did have influence when I got sent to Alabama for the summer. My auntie was not playing. She was Sunday. Everybody's going no matter what. The same things that I can see the benefits from, like praise and worship and speaking in tongues or laying hands on people. The same things I used to fight. I'm like, why are you touching me? I'm not falling out like that person over there. This is a hoops or whatever you want to call a hopes or hoops. They must be pushing them. Something like. What you telling your younger self? If I told my younger self anything, would to be find out who you are through Christ, because Christ has the epitome of what you are supposed to be in the world. I know it's in Corinthians. I kind of want to say 13, but the whole submitting thing, that as well. Understand that, because you talked about wife, and men like to always throw out women should submit to their husbands. Yes, they should, but they're going to submit to a man who first know how to submit to God, because it shows them that they're not boastful. It shows them that they're not conceited or prideful or whatever. It shows them that you could first trust in a higher power to lead your way. So now I have no worries about where you lead me. Yeah, because I'm confident in how you lead.
I think that I would also, there's another scripture that says, don't be anxious. I can't recall, but that was very helpful for me, because I think being anxious and worrying and like trying to be in control, right? Like I had to I wish that I had relinquished more of my control and just was faithful and hopeful.
Because the thing is, right, we didn't find each other until we released everything we had, everything we thought about, um, to God and let Him move and let Him work.
Yeah. And that is the reality. If we don't lay it at his feet and allow him to do the work, then it caused us to be prideful. Our egos were definitely getting in the way. We had a plan, or we had our own spin on how we felt like things should go. When the reality is like, no, he is the one that's going to take us to and fro, right? And so I think that that is something that I would definitely continue to encourage. Oh, the scripture is at this below, Philippians 4:16. Be anxious for nothing, but by prayer and supplication make your requests known unto God. Philippians 4:6.
There's also a scripture that says, through Christ all things are made new. Like, so no matter what my past was like, right? And my pastor brings up the fact that the moment on the cross, the two other criminals may say, you know, in the moment that the one gave his life and believed that Jesus was the Son of God, he was instantly saved. So up until that point, right before he died, he was saved.
Yeah.
Right. So don't take that for advantage of it. Learn to know him more.
Yeah.
You know, before your back is against the wall, and
submit to him.
Yes.
Honestly, I think that we have so much more that we could share about like who we were as single people. But one of the most important things, and that is true, is that it wasn't until we relinquished our wills and gave our lives to Christ that he made sure that we were back together. Dakari and I spent 5 years not together.
One split.
One
breakup.
5 years as single individuals. And through that time we were not together, God was working on
both of us.
But
I was waiting on her. She had to get her stuff together. You know.
Y'all, when y'all read the book, y'all are gonna see who really was getting it stuff together.
She needed more work.
I'm just grateful because without that, we wouldn't have Dakota, we wouldn't have Hartley. So we went from a family of 2 to a family of 3, then to a family of 4, and there will not be a family of 5 with the Maynards because we're
just a dog. We might add a dog.
Okay, maybe a dog, but that's about it. But the reality is that our single selves would love for you to hear what we would have told ourselves if we could go back in time. And so I hope if you were on here and you were single, that you were able to receive something from us. And if you on here and you're married, that you were able to receive something from us.
Before we go, church gets a bad rep sometimes. And it did for me. Like I said, I wasn't brought up in it. But what I did do, I was open to always going. And in going to Emmanuel, I saw a person there that I trust. And through the person that I trust, I allowed my trust through him as the person I knew him as, to just follow. Okay, you going that way, I trust you. We can go that way. And that was my pastor. I called him George. We went to high school together. Like, so if church is too much for you, right? And you know me and Michelle, and you know you knew my past, and if you trust me, I could put you in the hands of the Lord, and you could definitely trust him.
Yeah, and you are not your past.
Nope.
You are not your past. It can be wiped away. Your slate can be cleaned any moment. As a young couple, what would you like to say to your older married couple?
Wow.
So,
Thank you. So the fun we have being together, the love that we share with each other, it's only been 3 years, right? So if we made these decisions earlier in life, I would have more time with her. I would have, let's say, another 5 years on top of this, right? To get to learn. Learning is fun. It's going to be tough. It's going to be like ups and downs, but the end goal is making your bond stronger. So if I had to tell the older couple or older married couple, myself would be to never forget, um, never stop learning from one another, right? You said something earlier about like the wife thing. Like you have to first be a wife, and then the man will find a good thing, which is a wife, right? And God uses this all of us. He uses us. So the single me, the wild and crazy me,
wild and crazy,
right? He used that. So now all my wild and crazy is in one.
Yeah.
Right. So she benefits from all my wild and crazy, and I can benefit it because I'm not burning the candlestick at two ends.
Yeah. I think we want to be relatable to people who have been married longer than us. And so one of the things that I would say is like share what you've experienced in some way, shape, or form. We're still learning, right? I think it's important for people to see couples, regardless of the time that they've been together, enjoying it and having fun. And, also being in a position to be able to say, like, look at where we came from. Like, in each year, you should definitely be setting goals and checking to see, have we met those family goals that we have for one another? And I think that like will help set the bar for success in your marriages. Anything that you do, technically, is if you have a goal, you working towards that. You know where you're going. That's about the way with the maze. That's the path, right? You know where you're going. Why do you think that it says a man that finds the wife finds a good thing? Why doesn't a woman find a good thing?
Because the man was made to not rule, but have dominion over all things. And it's in a man. You can go if you're finding something. If you're a hunter, you got to find something to eat. The man goes out. It's a attribute or a quality of a man. While a woman, like you got some women that like propose to men, and I used to be that. The single me was like, yo, I'm such a good man. My girl gonna propose to me, but then it will take away the values of a man loving a woman. You can go deeper into it.
Man loves a woman. Sorry, that's what came up next to me.
First of all, because the word says it. That's one.
Really, there's no other answer. The truth shall set you free. Stop trying to do the man's job, women. I think that the reality is that it is the responsibility of the man to say, I'm ready. And then what happens is you get into this marriage, right? And then you wonder why the man is not treating you right. Well, he wasn't ready. You forced him into it. You proposed to him, and he felt like he had to say yes. Like the reality is, the reality is like, no, like let the man. He knows when it's ready, when you're ready, and he's ready. And then I think that allows for him to see that you are willing to submit to him. The word says that the man findeth a good thing. He knows what that good thing is. He'll know like that this will be the good thing by choosing to marry you. But you can't flip the word. Like you gotta stand on the word and know that that's the truth.
But this is why when a man, so men, you can't you hear it all the time. Oh, I gotta wait. You know what I'm saying? I buy the ring. I just gotta put some things in order. Or I propose to her. I just, I'm waiting on this job call. Like, and she said it. Once the man is ready. So if a man is fumbling, going back and forth, this, that, and the third, I would actually say, women, do yourself a favor and take yourself out of the situation. Because if you're, why he gotta go to the store and get milk if the cow's at home? I ain't calling a woman a cow, but the cow produces the milk, right? So if he doesn't have to go out and earn anything, he won't. He won't.
I think the reality is that we have to allow the man to do the work that he needs to do. Because if he doesn't do the work, then you'll find him he'll be spending the entire marriage doing the work he should have done before he proposed, right? And so when we as women take the initiative to propose to the man, which I hope answers Denise's question, it it also eliminates the man's growth, right? Like he needs to establish that he's growing, he's ready to take this step, and that he's processed it. Now, man, that don't mean take all day. That don't mean take 10 years, right? If you know, you know. We hear this all the time. Like we use this as a hashtag all the time. When you know that this is the woman you want to be with, and if it is a good thing and someone that you see adding value to your life, then we do believe that you should not have to take that long to make the decision
and be with her, right? So I could have been in a relationship, it could have ended. I could have dated myself or dated. I don't need 3 dates. If I went back right now, I don't need 3, 4, 5 dates. After the first date, I know the questions to ask. I know the vibe to feel. Thank you. It was a great meal, good conversation or not. And you won't be hearing from me again. Like, we're scared to be honest, right? Because the truth hurts. Be honest. You don't have to be rude about it, right? You don't got to be rude, but just be honest with yourself. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get caught up in the fluidity of things. And you're just going to be flowing. And then you're going to live together. Yeah. And you're going to have a kid together. And if marriage is what you want, it's going to get prolonged because you're just going with the fluidity of things.
So I think that brings up a huge point for me, right? Like you said, the women should definitely be out. I think the reality is we have to take a stand and know, like, this is not what's best for me, right? Like, when you know your worth, as you said earlier, like you also know when you see this red flag that this means that I'm taking myself out of the equation so that you can grow. I'm taking myself out of the equation so that I don't have to sit here wondering. This happened to us, right? Like we had this point where like we were like really good friends, and I was like, nah, we can't be friends because me being your friend isn't allowing you to grow, right? Me being your friend actually makes you think that you can still have your cake and eat it too, right? But it was a decision that, I made to say, like, I can't be in your space because I know what I want. I know you're my husband, but you're not ready to be my husband, and I'm not ready to be your wife. So the best thing for us to do at this point is to end it. And look at where we ended up. Like, we ended it and still ended up together.
Until she said that, like, even at that moment.
That's a good question. Go ahead.
What question I said? But even at that moment, it was freedom almost for me. Because I'm like, you finally kept it real.
Yeah, like, keep it real.
Thank you. And so now I know how to move. Now I'm not going to text you on your birthday. I'm not going to say, hey, how you doing? I'm just checking in on you because I was thinking about you. Because I know what that does for you.
Yeah.
And if I have any ounce of concern for someone else, you don't do that. You don't play around. When I got married or when I got into a serious relationship, I actually called up a few females from high school and on that I knew I did wrong, and I apologized because I wasn't the man then that knew what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
And a female's hurt from high school could be dragged all the way out to the 10th year of marriage. She could be bashing her husband for something that I did.
Yeah. I think that this is really, really strong conversation. I think one of the best things about it is, and the thing that's like being lifted to the forefront is about being extremely honest. And we talked about that in one of the first sessions about communication. Like saying the truth is better than, holding on to somebody because you're afraid to hurt them. Saying the truth is, while it may hurt in the beginning, um, it definitely may hurt, but it's better to know than to not know. And so I think from both the male and the female perspective, it's important for you to tell the truth.
And I was always um I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Oh, you mad at me? I'll try to get back in your good graces. But a female that's hurt because you tell her the truth will eventually respect you, the man that you are, and she will realize it. Maybe not today, tomorrow, whatever. She will respect you.
Yeah.
The woman that is lied to and misled and deceived will discuss you forever. And if I was always want to be in good graces, I wouldn't want to be that guy.
Yeah. And so being honest has its pain, but somebody can easily forgive you for being honest. And so love that people are engaging with us. And so there's a comment about like a woman can't stay inside of the four walls. Women have work to do. And that if a woman is indoors, how is it possible for a man to find their good thing? And so the answer is to get out.
Get out.
And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to
what are you
the
afraid
club,
of?
right? It doesn't mean you have to, but it means the work that we have to do. Like we go to our daily jobs, we we go to church, right? Like, I mean, I think it was us going to church and seeing each other in church again, that also blessed us both because I got to see him worship and he got to see me worship. But also you don't go somewhere where you don't want to find a man, right? Like, while I thought it was cool to be out in the club, I really wasn't trying to marry a clubber. Like, so I had to be careful about like where I was going because that sending a message of like, oh, this is what I wanted. But the reality was I wanted a man of God. So where do I need to be? In the house of the Lord, right? Maybe I'll go to church events. Maybe I'm going to different worship services, not necessarily only at my own church, but wherever there is church events happening. And hopefully at that point, I will encounter them. That was not the case for you and I, but even being at a family cookout. If I didn't go to the cookout and if he didn't go to the cookout, we would have never had an encounter.
This is so now you guys is chiming in, you're giving us questions. This is real good. The time is running out, but
what would you say it is a good thing because of the woman is the help me? Would you say it is a good thing because the woman is the help me? And should the man also help? Scripture makes it seem like the woman does much and then also
actually helps. The scripture holds the man to more submission than the female does.
What do you mean by that? Like,
just in the scripture,
elaborate.
It labels out what a man should do first, and then comes that part where it says a woman submit to your husband and other things, whatever. But it's first the man's thing, so it's not just one-sided. A woman helper first. Oh man,
this is hard.
So, right? So a lot of this might be our next. This is a segue to next month.
It's already getting hot and heated.
My wife is the breadwinner. Man. My wife makes more than me. We both do very well
financially. We do
but
great. Together.
My point exactly. So while a man's waiting, it's in his DNA to hustle and grind, and sometimes we're not taught how to do it the smart way and let our money work for us instead of us working for our money. But together, we're in a different tax bracket.
A whole different tax bracket.
Separately, we're might be in the same, but the way finances play a part in our relationship does not affect the roles that we also have to play in the household. She allows me to lead. She doesn't hold money over my head. She's never talked down to me about, um, won't you do more? She's actually wants me to do less. When it comes to the finances, like, why are you working at that job? You don't need it no more. I'm like, oh, we don't? Oh, okay. Well, pay me a little some of that. Um,
So I think like the reality is that everything is supposed to be a teamwork, as we said in the first session. Like it is meant for us to balance each other out, and where you lack, I have. And where I lack, you have. And so if I don't wash the dishes, then you wash the dishes behind me. If I don't, if
and I'm not domestic, so I'm in a difficult situation, right? And I talk to myself a lot, and I pray to God a lot because it's a give and take, but it's consideration for each other's um life load, like the load that life and the world puts on you, right? We each need a time to debrief or unload, right? So when she come home from work and I've had the kids all day, I want to just leave. I just want to, but sometimes she comes home and she's on a work call, and then she got to unwind, and then she comes home and she's like, I got to cook. I've been out. He had the kids. You could see the efforts in people who love each other.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. I think the answer is effort, right? When you care about someone, you show that you care, right? Your demonstration of care, um, it looks a certain way. I'm not gonna just sit there and watch you do the things that you do and not want to help you, and vice versa. If you're cleaning, I want to help you, and it's an equal balance.
And sometimes if you don't feel like cleaning, babe, I see you cleaning. Just I need a minute, or just leave that over there. Let me handle that. You do what you got to do. I want to help, but I'm tired.
Yeah, so like some men, it's one of the comments. Some men have a problem with that, and some men feel like
Some men have a problem with that.
That the woman should be doing
less as a man when the woman makes more.
Yeah. So how can we encourage men when the
So if that man says that, then that man should have never said, I need me a sugar mama. Take care of me, man. I work hard. Because then that's a conflict right there.
No, but the reality is that it doesn't feel good.
Because it doesn't feel good, because then it's not delivered as togetherness. Like we said, you make more than me, but together I make more than what I do because I'm with you.
Yeah. I think it has to be a part of the conversation, like knowing this information. How do we make sure that the man feels empowered? Although I make more money, I have to make sure his value and his worth, and show him that I honor him, even though I make more money than him, right? And so, what ways can I honor him, right? And what ways can I make him see that I'm still proud of what he is doing, so that he doesn't feel like I need to go out and make more money, or he gets, or the other thing is, are the finances an equal playing field? Because if it's like I make more money, I'm paying more bills, but you have to take the I out of it altogether, and it becomes our money, our bills together, right? That's where the dynamic shifts. And I think we have to do that for each other, because he spent a lot of time, well, I didn't make that much money, right? And I'm like, no, but babe, we made that much money, right? It's not my money anymore. When I got married, it stopped becoming my money. It is our money.
That's real good. It was a couple questions that popped
DJ.
up.
What we tell teenagers who want to get married.
So
get married.
There's your mother got married as a teenager. I know people who got married as a teenager and was able to experience 70 years of marriage with a person. To tell a teenager not to get married would give them limitations, and I'm not trying to limit anybody. You do experience love. Love changes all the time, but the core of it is the same. So if you experience love as a teenager, you got to have that talk, because marriage is hard work. So if you don't have a village or some other family members to help you through that,
you need godly counsel.
We want marriage without divorce. So if you're a teenager, one person said, if there's one thing that bugs you about the person,
times
if you could live with it for the rest of your life, then that's a good thing. But if you think you call yourself getting tired and irritable of it, then you probably need to think about it again.
I think I would say you should definitely seek godly counsel. I think that's super important. I don't think it should be family members. Unfortunately, sometimes family members have too much to say, right? You need someone who is, that you both are willing to listen to, and you're going to need to have this counseling available to you, because marriage is a constant, is work. It is a job. It is a responsibility, and you can't just say I quit because it didn't go the way you planned for it to go. And so the same way you get a paycheck at the end of each pay period, right? You get a love check at the end of each pay period in your marriage, right? And it's a love check where I'm checking in to make sure I demonstrate my love for you and you demonstrate your love for me. But that's not going to happen if you don't have someone to partner your thinking with. And you can't partner it with, friends who are single. You can't partner it with your family members. So I would just highly suggest that you find someone who you both are willing to listen to, that can guide you spiritually through your marriage. I think that's like one of the best things that could have happened for us, is knowing that, and we said it in our first or second session, that we have people we know we can go to, and right now that's just our pastor and first lady. If we are struggling with a conversation, if we're not sure what to do or how to handle what we're being confronted with, we have another married couple who we can partner with, and we're not allowed to go outside of those two people to have that conversation. So this way we're not getting the opinion of others, because the first thing that we do is we go to somebody who's going to agree with us. And that's be very careful about going to the people who will agree with you. You want people to challenge you. You want people to tell you when you're wrong and tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it. And so the single us made it to the married us, and we're super grateful that we did.
90% of y'all didn't think I'll ever have a wife. I'm pretty sure, but 50% of y'all knew I'll be a good dad. Always that, because I always loved kids. But this has been a great show. We pushed it like just in church. When the spirit moves, it moves, and it moves today. We are very grateful to be in the ears of people. I want to give a shout out to one of my best friends. He mentioned in the comment, I wish I would have known some of this earlier in life. But I want to let you know, you've always inspired me. He has 4 children, and he's made it work. He's grown a lot, and I've learned so much from him. So Torian, keep your head up. I wish I was able to show you more. We was doing it together. I was older than you. You was looking up to me. I had nothing to offer you. So what you got into, you have handled it like a champ. I'll always commend you on that. And you still have life. You still got you still doing it, man.
Yeah.
You're still doing it.
So our prayer today is that you all know your worth, and that it doesn't matter how old you are, even if you're single, even the age that you are, know that God still has a plan for your life, and that He still has an assignment for you. If you are up, if you are awake, God has an assignment for you. And so live your best and your most fullest life, aligned to the will of God, and do the assignment. Like, do the assignment. I think that's really where we are at this point. It's not about our marriage anymore. This is an assignment. We've been assigned to do this work. And so as long as we're alive, we're gonna do the will of the Lord.
Yes, Debbie. But again, I'm I'm so serious with that, right? So I know plenty of beautiful single women that in the church they want somebody, but I don't really have anybody to offer them because they're not ready. These women of God out here, gentlemen, will chew you up and spit you out. They're not trying to hit no games. They not save it. Just save it. So men, get yourselves ready. If it's in your future to be a husband, get yourself ready. Date yourself. Have dinner with yourself. Find out what you don't like. And when you meet somebody, just be blunt and honest. And if they can take it from date one, and leave sex out of it.
I wish that we could tell our younger selves that.
That's
again.
One.
Like, no sex in the champagne room.
For the record, when we met, we did not have sex until we got married.
Yeah.
That was hard. We had sex before that, but as of I'm dating you, we're recording.
Once we got back together after the 5 years,
it was nothing.
We waited, and it was the best thing that we could have done.
Wow, a whole hour. We had a whole lot of food on this plate.
Yeah, but we thank you. We appreciate the comments and the questions. It really helped us stay engaged, and we look forward to hanging out with you next month.
Copy the link, post it on your Facebook. And don't
tell other people.
Yeah, don't care about what people may say about what you post, and they could like it or not. But if it's out there, it's at least there for somebody to go get it.
Yeah.
Don't forget, Cry Out, Refresh Worship. Cry Out. More songs is coming.
A whole album in April, y'all.
It's a lot of R&B hits, guys. They come out, they doing concerts. You got about $50 tickets, $100 tickets. My church has a concert every Sunday. We jam. If you love music, come for the music, stay for the word, be blessed either way.
Yeah. All right. The Way with the Maze.
We
want to say
Ways with the Maze.
Shout out to our pastor G. Morris Coleman, Apostle G. Morris Coleman.
He got that lean too.
He's our mentor, our friend, and one of the writers for Refresh Worship. So he's dope. He's definitely the reason why I write together, because if he didn't call me in his office, this would not be a thing. So.
He didn't call me. Nobody else could have got us sitting in the office together.
No.
Nobody.
No. All right. We love y'all.
Love y'all.
Remember to follow The Way with the Maze, but the way is the word.
The way?
The
is
way.
It the ways or the way with the way? Is it
the way?
It's the way. No S. No S on way.
The Way with the Maze. We're the maze.
The _ way _ with _ the _ maze.
Yes.
People gotta be.
But I really mean follow the word.
Yes, that's what they know that. If they don't, they should by now.
Peace out, y'all. We love you.